Good. Good. So I begin. Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Agenda 2030. Welcome to Understanding Agenda 2030. Only 1 decade left. Let me present myself. My name is Yasser. I'm 22 years old. I'm a student of international business in the University of València here in Spain. And to everyone who is here, I just have to say thank you. We've been working on this webinar series since October, so we are very happy to have you here with us. Some minutes ago, Andrea Russo, one of the speakers of this webinar, was saying, at the end, we are people from different countries, but we are only one community, which is the world. And I think that this is very beautiful because this is this webinar also. I know that there is people from all around the world, all around Europe. And at the end, I think that this is Agenda 2030. This is the goal to understand that we are a community. So first of all, thank you for being here. I would like to explain a little bit how this project was born, okay? The first thing that I have to say is that this project is included in FORTHEM. The initiative FORTHEM is an initiative by the European Union, which means fostering outreach within European regions, transnational and higher educational mobility. Let me explain you a little bit. Okay. The main aim of the FORTHEM initiative is to promote collaboration between different universities of all across Europe. There are 7 universities from seven different countries in this project, and they promote different civic engagement projects, internships across different zones, and so on and so forth. So we are here with a civic engagement project. We are here 3 associations from 3 different countries, from 3 different universities also, that contacted each other. We wanted to do something. We wanted to create something, and we contacted each other, and we say, okay, let's do something. Let's propose something to the FORTHEM Commission, and let's see how it goes. And at the end, this initiative was awarded. So and then financed by the FORTHEM Commission. So we are here starting with our webinar series. Let me explain you a little bit which are the associations involved. We have 3 associations. The first one is, okay, there are no others, but I would like to begin with ESN Palermo. ESN is Erasmus Student Network. Most of you will know this network. It is a non-profit international student association whose aim is to represent international students and to provide them opportunities in a student helping students methodology or student helping students way, right? Then we have a second association, which is the UN Association of Jyväskylä. Jyväskylä is I hope I'm saying Jyväskylä in the correct way, but it's a very difficult Finnish word. This is a civic organization in Finland whose aim is to promote the goals and principles of the United Nations, such as Agenda 2030, the one that we are dealing with right now. What else? And then we have a third association, which is the one that I represent. It is called CEFDEE. In Spanish, it means Colectivo de Estudiantes por la Facultad de Economía Ética. And we are a student association whose aim is to promote business ethics and to make awareness of how ethical behavior in companies, in organization, in economics as a whole could impact society, the impact that this behavior could have. And sorry, but as I'm talking about my association and I have a little bit of free advertising, I have to say that for all of you that you are here that knew us previously, or for all of you that you are here and you are knowing us for the first time and you are interested in business ethics, just contact us in our social media. If you would like to join us to help us with our current projects like this one, you will be more than welcome. Okay, just for you to know it. Good. now I've talked about the associations involved in understanding Agenda 2030. Let me talk about the initiative as a whole. Why we decided to go with this topic, why we decided to do a webinar series. As I told you, we said, okay, let's do something. And I don't remember how the idea started, but we wanted to create like a formation, some lecture, some webinar, something like that. And we said, probably Agenda 2030 is a good topic. Why? Because I think that people in general in society, and also especially in the academic background, I think we think that they have heard sometimes about Agenda 2030, know something, but in a very confused way. Know that the UN is doing something, that probably the national government is doing something, but they don't know exactly what this is, what this means. They don't know it in deep. And we think that it's very important to make information accessible and knowledge accessible to people, to students who would like to know a little bit more about it. We wanted to bring sustainable development goals to our usual conversations and to make an impact in the individual level. So that's why we're doing this webinar series. We decided to contact experts from the Agenda 2030 background, and to do 4 webinars. I repeat, 4 webinars. This is just the beginning. About the 17 sustainable development goals. Okay, what else? Yeah, we have 17 sustainable development goals. We have 4 webinars. So what we are doing in this program is to, in each of these webinars, to talk about something in concrete, because at the end the sustainable development goals are very wide. There are different types. So we think that it's better to try to classify them and to do more concrete conversation. This is the introduction. This is just the beginning, as I said, but I would like to insist on the fact that we will have more. So if in case you are interested, just follow us in our social media. We will share them. We will share now the social media in the chat. And just for you to know that 13th of March, 13th of March, yeah, we will have the second webinar. So we will be more than happy if you could be there with us, and just it. Let me introduce a little bit the speakers of this webinar. It will be an introductory session about Agenda 2030. I will talk a little bit about them, but I would prefer them to present themselves, because at the end they know more about themselves than me. This is obvious, right? We have 3 speakers. We have Eeva Furman, which is the director of the Environmental Policy Center at the Finnish Environment Institute, SAIC. Also, we have Blanca de Juan de Castro, which is the co-founder partner of the. Okay, Eeva comes from Finland. Okay, just for you to know. Then we have Blanca de Juan de Castro, which is the co-founder partner of the international network of SDG Promoter Spain. SDG meaning Sustainable Development Goals. She's from Spain, obviously. And then we have Andrea Russo, which is the trainee lawyer at the Supreme Court of Cassation in Italy, and he's also very active. Very activist. He's an active member of Politeia and Comitato Vittime, which are Italian words that I do not pronounce correctly. So now let me explain you a little bit the rules, how we are doing this. Now I would like them to introduce themselves. We are constantly following the same order. I would like to start with Blanca, then to Eeva, and then to Andrea. This is the order that we will follow also in the presentations that each one of them is going to give. And then after the presentation, we will have a little bit of debate between them. I will moderate this debate. We will make some questions. We will make something more dynamical. And if you have any question, any suggestion, anything to say, any doubt, just you can put it in the chat. And if you have any question any question that you do not want to make public, you can send it to one profile in the Zoom, which is called logistics, which is Anna. And I think that's all. Some of the rules, please do not put the camera. I think that you cannot put it just because we are recording and we have consent agreements with the people that are here to record and to have the webinar recorded. And that's it. If you have anything to say in private, if you could put it in the chat, but if you want to send it in private, you can send it to logistics, which is Anna. Now, please, Blanca, would you like to present yourself, to tell us a little bit what you are doing, which is your relationship with Agenda 2030? What have you done? Just tell us some things.
So, hello, thank you everyone for being here. Thank you for the organization in this webinar. Thanks for inviting me on behalf of the Red Internacional de Promotores ODS in Spain. My part is just to make a brief overview about the SDG and well, I'm chemist. Sorry, I studied chemistry in Madrid. Then I was living in Germany for 2 years, a little bit more, doing my PhD in chemistry. Then I moved to the communications world, let's say. And now I'm doing things with students also. I'm coordinated 2 masters in the University Complutense in Madrid, about fundraising for NGOs and competitive social transformation. And so I moved to the social world, what I love, and I really enjoyed it. So that's a very brief about my professional life. So that's it.
Okay. Thank you, Blanca. Now I'd like to meet and to know a little bit about Eeva. Nice to hear you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hello. Hello also from my side, and greetings from Helsinki. Yesterday we had -20 degrees here. Cold.
Yeah.
And I have a background in marine biology. But since 20 years, I've been working very much on environmental governance, different projects, but also and development, but especially research. My focus has been very much on global issues, always different parts of the world, and I've been I suppose my focus has always been biodiversity. But as a side and during the last 10 years, I've been mainly working on the sustainable development issues. And I was one of the authors of the Global Sustainable Development Report. That was an independent group of 15 people from different parts of the world, and we wrote the report for the United Nations. What's the state of sustainable development? And today I'm chairing the Sustainable Development Expert Panel in Finland, and my institute, which is an environmental institute, is today actually focusing on sustainability transformations very strongly. It's kind of the mission of it, because we see that the environmental issues are very strongly connected to all the other issues in the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Eeva. Now I would like to meet a little bit our last speaker, which is Andrea Russo from Italy. Please, Andrea.
Yes. Okay. Thank you for all. Thank you for. I'm so glad to be with you today. I'm worse than the president speaker. I am very worse. I am a trainee lawyer in Palermo, a trainee lawyer in a Supreme Court in Rome. I'm studying in administrative master in administrative law in Rome. I'm an active member and founder of many associations in Palermo, and a citizen that find to be our city, our world better than this. All this. I hate talking about me. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrea. So now that each one of us has presented itself, let's begin with the presentations. I remember to the people that have joined like in the last minutes, we will go with 3 presentations of each one of the speakers that we have invited today. And then we will do a debate, something more dynamic, as I said. So we follow the same order again, and we start with Blanca. So would you mind sharing your screen? Blanca is going to make us a little bit of a presentation of the origins of Agenda 2030, the current situation, the challenges of humanity. This is going to be the topic of Blanca. So when you want, please, you can start. I think I see that, at least me, I'm seeing the slides. So
right.
So you can begin. Thank you.
Right. So can you hear me? Yeah. Okay. Thank you. So thanks again for invite us to this webinar. My part is to make a short overview about the SDG, so where they come from and so on. So I'm gonna go a bit quick because I have a lot of slides, but I think it will be clear. Let's see. Okay. I don't know why it's okay now. So here a brief, this is my curriculum, and mixed with the Millennium Development Goals and the Sustainable Development Goals. So I'm in between all these movements. As I told you before, I studied chemistry and I was in Germany, and then I moved into the communication management. I made my studies there and everything. Then I moved to the social world with several social projects with different things. And last year we founded the Red Internacional Promotores ODS in Spain. And also I'm related also with other social projects in the university with 2 masters, okay? So we have to, I think we have to start from the beginning. And we started in year 2000, and some countries, 189 countries, they agreed to sign a commitment to solve the world main problems. And they identify these 8 problems, and they give themselves a deadline for 15 years to try to solve, or to try to understand how to solve these problems, okay? This was the Millennium Development Goals, as I told you, was in year 2000. So the first of these goals was to eradicate extreme poverty and hunger. I'm gonna go quick through all this because you have all this information in the internet, okay? The second one was to achieve universal primary education all over the world, promote gender equality and empower women. There was the third one, reduce child mortality, improve maternal health, combat VIH, AIDS, malaria and other diseases, ensure environmental sustainability, and for me the most important was to make a global partnership for development. So these were the 8 goals that they believe could solve the main problems of the world. So as I told you, they gave themselves 15 years to solve these problems, and we arrived in 2015, and what happened then? So we realized that we haven't achieved all these goals, but we try, or we learned some things. They made some report. You can find them in the internet. I give you here the addresses, the links, and everything. And I think the most important thing at this point was we try, or we draw the pathway of where we have to go, or how we have to go there. We learned a lot of things. We achieved some things. I mean, it was not everything bad, but as I told you before, we didn't make good enough. So here's some videos you will see in the presentation. So I can pass you the presentation afterwards, and you can see them at home. So we arrived, and we decided that we have to rebuild these goals, or redistribute these problems, and we arrived to the sustainable development goals. Now there were 193 countries. Now we made 17 goals, 169 targets. And again, the deadline was 15 years. So we have till 2030 to achieve these goals, or to try to achieve these goals. The most important thing for me is the SDGs are a common language for everyone. So we can all use the same words to refer to the same problems, because I think all over the world we have more or less the same problems. So for me, the most important thing, as I told you, is to have a common language in a way that we can all speak about the same things. Okay. The SDGs were based on what they call this 5P. They are, we care about the planet, the people, prosperity, peace, and partnerships. Here you have a chart when you can see the relation between the SDGs and the Millennium Objective Goals. Okay, I think it's very clear here. Sorry. Okay. And now Agenda 2030, I think it has three principal dimensions: the social, the economy, and the biosphere. On the basis of this pyramid is the biosphere. If we don't care about the biosphere, we cannot do anything else. We have to care about the environmental. Sorry about my English. And then we have to care about the society, the people, and then the economy. All these things have to be made using the SDG number 17, that is the partnerships. We have to work together to make a better world. There's no other way to make things, under my point of view. There are thousands of resources about SDGs, and here I found a song that is quite funny. You can listen to it at home, because now we don't have enough time. But you can find thousands of sorry. You have a lot of things to learn about the SDGs. Here is another very interesting video, how the United Nations moves from the SDGs, from the paper to practice, because we can speak a lot or think about how to do things, but reality is that we have to move on. We have to do things. If not, we have a problem. Okay. Sorry again. Here's another one. This one was very famous. I think all of you have seen this video. A lot of famous people speak about the SDG, just trying to make people conscious about that we have a lot of problems all over the world and we have to solve them. Here's another one from Professor Stephen Hawking. It's quite interesting. Sorry, okay. So I wanted to arrive to this slide because now we arrived in 2015 with the SDGs and the signature of the climate agreement in Paris. And then last year we entered in the decade of action, and we had I was going to say a friend, but it was not a friend, that COVID-19 came to visit us, and that was a really hard point for the SDGs because it stopped a lot of actions that were being made. So we are again in the decade of action, and we have to do things. It's time to stop thinking, stop designing, and move to action, as they say. Sorry.
Development goals
Yeah.
are the world's action plan for a fair globalization and a better future for all. We have 10 years to bring that vision to life, and we can only get there together. That is why we have launched a decade of action to deliver the goals, to overcome poverty and inequality, to combat the climate crisis and advance gender equality, to build peaceful, just and inclusive societies free of discrimination and hate in harmony with nature. Join us, step up, seize the moment, and let us work together to meet the goals, move our world forward, and leave no one behind.
Exactly. So that's the point, to leave no one behind. This was Antonio Gutierrez, and I think he explained it much better than me. So Agenda 2030 is a matter of everyone, and here I have the NGOs, the private sector, and the governments that have to work together. I want to remark that have to work together in order to achieve the goals. Okay, and sorry. So, but also the civil society has a lot of things to do here. That's what we made in the Red Internacional de Promotores ODS in Spain. We try people to get to know the SDGs and to try to move them to action. We go from local to global, and we want people to be change makers. So you can be a change maker. Indeed, I think you must be a change maker. Okay. Our purpose is to get people to know the challenges and local opportunities that are developing to get to the SDGs, to connect every change maker, and to mobilize all kinds of people, because it's in Spanish, okay? Because every step counts to build a better future for everyone. That's our purpose, and we really believe in this purpose. Here you have some data. I call this white matters, and you have some data related to every SDG. I'm gonna go very quickly through all of them. You have here the link. You can read in the United Nations webpage. It's great. So we have 3, 4, 5, all the SDGs. We have a lot of, I mean, I don't like all these letters of the words, okay? 5, 9, okay. So you have a lot, as I told you before, you have a lot of resources in the Sustainable Development Solution Network. You have different networks, different groups, and I wanted to bring here the one that I think is most important for you is the youth network, and I gave you here the link also. You can find a lot of things, and the priorities are to educate young people about the SDGs, to connect young people globally, that's very important, and support young people in the creation and scaling of innovative solutions for the SDGs. That's, for me, it's very important to get all the young people to work together in order to build a better world. Here you have a lot of resources, as I told you, for free in this webpage. I think it's very important to get to know what is happening in the world. Okay, here you can contribute also. You can register your initiatives in this SDG partnership platform. That's quite interesting as well. And there are a lot of things that are being made by universities. I wanted to bring you here this one in the Netherlands. They made like a challenge with, I think it was 14 or 15 universities all around the country with, they make groups, student groups, to work with different companies in the country. So they work together to make some challenge and to find solutions for the SDG. For me, was quite interesting.
Sorry for interrupting you, Blanca. You phrased different topics that we will debate during the conversation, but we need, because of time, we need to go with the following presentation.
Okay.
Okay. So as I said, there are different topics like COVID, like also the role of the agents of this, all the agents of society with Agenda 2030 that we will discuss afterwards. But we need to go to the following presentation because of time, because of the schedule. So now we go with Eeva, which is here. Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'll share my presentation.
Please.
Can you see that?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So unfortunately, I don't see you, but it was good that you shout from there, but I'll try to check my time as well. So.
Sorry, Eeva, can you make it bigger, the presentation? Can you?
Yeah, I'm just doing it now.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So I'm going to talk about how powerful actually the agenda is and how to go forward with it. And I think the presentation by Blanca was fantastic. She came from a little bit different angle than I, and I think that was really good to take the Millennium Goals as a background for this and the activities for the youth in her presentation. But so I'm going a little bit backwards. When I was young, not much younger than you actually, when I was 5 years or something like that, the world looked like this. There were some developed countries, but most countries was actually undeveloped. They were called developing countries, but that's what they looked like. This is children surviving to age and babies per woman. And then this is the situation today. So actually, when we are talking about developing and developed countries, most of us are, compared to what it was when I was young, we are quite on the same level. And countries are, we have developing countries and developed countries, but in all these countries you also have big variety of the situation in families. But why I want to raise this is that actually this has been a success story from economy and people's health and well-being. But this is not the whole story. And what actually has happened since then is that it has had quite a high cost on many other issues in on the globe and in our well-being and in the environment. And so the Brundtland Commission, which made the first Agenda 2020 in the 1980s, and they had this idea that they bring society and environment and ecology together and everything goes fine. And it was really a very good start. It was first time that something like that was done, but this was what happened. So the economy became really huge and the environment and society were still in the back. Nothing really happened. So today we are in a situation where we are really squeezed between the really huge challenges on the social side and also on the planetary, like the ecological side. And we really need to find a way how to stay in between on this zone. And that is what I could call the transformations. It means that we need to find a way how we can actually stay between these two and develop our societies so that we are safe. And here I have a picture that takes the same SDGs a little bit in a different order than in the picture that UN uses and also what Blanca uses. And here you can see that actually in reality, if we want to have a change in the natural sphere, in the ecology, we really have to pay attention to the social sphere because they are so closely connected. And the same thing is the fact that if we want to get an advancement in the social sphere, we need to change and take into respect and make a change in the ecological targets. And this is because we live in an Anthropocene. Anthropocene is a stage, a geological stage of the planet where actually humans are impacting everything that happens in the world. And our well-being, I mean, it's been really fantastic with our research and science and innovation that we have been able to create such good living here, but we have also destroyed, and now we have to find a way how to change it all. And for this we need the collaboration between people, partnerships, peace and so forth, but especially the different activities that are bringing us the wealth and well-being, which is food, it is the economy. So economy is actually a tool, it's not the goal. It's good to remember, even though here it looks like it. And it's how we produce energy and how we build cities and infrastructure and so forth. So at the moment, when we look at the agenda, we are still having lots of challenges. And we have challenges that are actually, because they are still going to the negative direction, we are not getting any further with the Agenda 2030. And they are the rising inequalities within countries, but now even much more today also between countries with the COVID. It's a biodiversity loss that is now rising very much. Climate change, we've been talking quite a lot the last, let's say, 6 or 10 years. And then actually also the growing amount of waste, both the electronic waste, but also like plastic. And it ends up in wrong parts in the world, like in developing countries, and people are collecting without any gloves, and children and women them. That's a big challenge. So when we actually look at what has happened with the goals, this is a 1 year old. There's been a new one after this, and it looks a bit different after the COVID, but basically it shows that if we think about the 2030, there are very few actually that have made progress that could lead anywhere. And that's why we have these 4 different challenges, and they are all interconnected. And the reason why they are so interconnected actually is something that you can see in this graph. Well, it's the Anthropocene, but if you look that you, for example, take 1 or 2 of the goals on the left-hand side and see how they are actually affecting reaching another goal, you can see that you have lots of blue colors, which means that there are co-benefits. That if people, for example, are having water, that is a good connection also to the activities with food. But there are also these orange colors ones, and these show that there are trade-offs. So if we actually advance one SDG forward, it can have negative impacts in reaching another goal. And what is alarming here is that we have lots of white, which means that we don't know. This is from scientific papers and reports, global reports, and the analysis that was done in about 1 year ago, 1 or 2 years ago. So the challenge is that when we actually take the agenda forward, we should not say that this is the most important, I will work only on this issue, this is important for me. But we need to push all the different SDGs at the same time, and especially look at where the connections are. The second issue is that actually we are globally highly interconnected as we are today here. We get our food, our goods from other parts of the world, and it's affecting the land use and social issues and environment in other parts of the world. But it's not only the goods, it's also people and money and our behavioral, like what kind of clothes we are using and the whole, what kind of music we are listening. We are highly connected, and it's not always so equally organized how actually we deal with these issues. And the third issue is that lots of people are affecting, or they can take the agenda forward, but they can also cause friction because they benefit from today's situation. And I think we need to take those along and find ways how to deal with it. So how to go forward? I see that we should not look at the individual SDGs, but we should look at those issues that are important to us, that we're there in the middle, and transform those. And transform means that we made a major change in how we do this. And if you look at the, for example, number 3, which is food systems, we need to ensure that food systems from the field to the fork or to the plate is done in a sustainable way, and also that the food is nutritious. And if we look at the energy, that we produce our energy in a sustainable way, that we build our cities in a sustainable way, and what most importantly actually is that we change our economy so that it is more sustainable. At the moment, it doesn't take into account the externalities. If I buy something in Finland, it doesn't include the price to the country somewhere else, or even in Finland, the environmental cost of it. And we need to ensure that well-being and capacities are taken care of, but also that they are sustainable from the environmental and sustainability, equality reason. And as Blanca said, on the ground of everything are the global environmental commons that we need to take care of. My second point is that to be able to change these 6 systems everywhere in the world, we need to use governance, economy, individuals, and also collectives doing things together, and science and technology. But not only these, but they need to, in a way, support and push to the same direction, work together. So it's not to say that you should do and not me, but all of us. And so we come to this kind of model. And as I said, it's the same everywhere in the world, but how we use these levers, which are the governance and economy, depends a little bit what are the challenges of the country and also what is the culture in the country and opportunities. So this is just to show an example how you really do it. So you have different issues that need to be done. If you take, for example, the individual part, reducing food waste and changing our dietary habits when we are talking about food. And then, for example, what should the governance do is to build social protection floors, and the markets, they should make market access. And also I would say that the insurance is against shocks, but also criteria that support sustainability, and science is there to support it all. COVID was something that came up. It's true, it really slowed down the implementation of the SDG in some parts. It also showed that suddenly we can do things really fast, but what we should really realize that we are not going back to the same world, definitely not. So actually the COVID crisis in some ways is also a crisis of sustainability. It's connected with these flows. It's connected that we live in dense cities, and it's connected to the fact that our ecological systems are breaking down. Finally, I would like to say that it all starts from education, from the daycares, very important, and it's also our cognitive capacity. Our brains it's most sensitive when we are very young. So it starts from there, how to actually go through these issues and also learn empathy, being active and feel empowered. Higher education, where many of you are, very important. And actually, at the moment, the governments, governments as well, but especially universities and other education also, where you get some secondary or different trainings, you should put in a way every place, put sustainable development in the basis of the planning, actually how you run the campus, and also what kind of curricula you have there. And finally, I would say that something that needs to be universal and universally agreed is the sustainability science. And sustainability science is something, it's normative. Can you imagine normative science, but it has the criteria of science. It qualifies as it, but it's normative. It aims for sustainability, to enhance sustainability. And that is something where we work together often with the society, with the actors, but also look at scenarios for the future. So this is very crucial that we analyze the interactions, we analyze who has the power, and then we co-create transformations with those who have the power and also those who are at stake. So thank you very much. I hope I wasn't too long with the presentation, and go and have a look at it's called the GSDR 2019. It's also on the UN website. So might interest you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your presentation, Eeva. Very, very interesting. Thank you. Now let's follow to the last presentation. I would like to introduce Andrea.
Yes.
Yeah. Can you share your screen? Who's going to?
Yes. In this moment. Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Shall we? Okay, we begin there. Okay.
Yes. Do you hearing me? Yes. I'm so glad to be part today of this event because, like says Borsellino, is one of the judge killed by mafia. If we want to solve our problem, we have to talk about the problem. And today we have talked about a lot of problems that we are today. And then at the start, I want to talk to you about the UN Agenda 2030 for Sustainable Development from historic point of view, to the, according to me, creation of a catalog of human rights, dignity of each human being, tolerance for the other and is different, and finally, openness and curiosity of the world are all stable of a constitution of because from my point of view, the important thing about every state, every nation, is create a constitution of hope, solving problem, and then the principal goal of this agenda, according to me, is to getting better the world. Start with goals. The UN Agenda 2030 for Sustainable Development is an action program for people, planet, and prosperity, signed on 25 September 2015 by government of 193 member countries of the United Nations and approved by UN General Assembly by agenda, set out 70 Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, which are part of broader program of action consisting in 169 associated targets to be achieved in the environmental, economic, social, and institutional demand by 2030. This program does not solve all the problem, but represent a good common basis to build a different world and offer everyone to change, to live in an environmentally, socially, economically, and socially sustainable world. The objective, the goals set for sustainable development have a global validity, concern and involve all countries and components of society, from private companies to the public sector, from civil society, then from citizen, the small citizen, to information and culture operators. Remember when at the start of the speak, I remember the Judge Borsellino. The 70 SDGs refer to a certain important development issues that take account of three dimensions of sustainable development: economic, like my colleague today talk about, social and ecological, in a balanced way, and aim to end poverty, fight against inequality, tackle climate change, and build peaceful society that respects human rights. All countries are called upon to define their own sustainable development strategies to achieve the objective pursued and report the results achieved within a process coordinated by the UN. Each country is evaluated annually at the UN through the work of the high-level political forum responsible for assessing progress, results, and challenge for all countries, and by national and international public opinion. Every 4 years, there is also a debate on the implementation of 2020 agenda and at the UN General Assembly. Before heads of state and government, the first such review was carried out in September 29. A focus in Europe. In this context, European Union is also committed to transposing and defining the principle of 2030 agenda of sustainable development. The SDGs are transposed at UN level so as to guide the member states in a final definition of their strategic objective. Because according to me, what interested today from juridic, from a right point of view, according to me, because you know I am a trainee lawyer, is the rule of law. In fact, during the opening speech of plenary session of European Parliament, chaired by Ursula von der Leyen, the European Commission presents a rich action program to be implemented over the next 5 years. The program clearly reveals the Union's willingness to achieve sustainable development objective goals, including in relation to Paris Agreement on climate change, and set the ground for a global EU strategy for the years 2019 to 2024. In Italy, every country on the planet is expected to contribute to addressing the major challenge toward a sustainable path by developing its own national strategy for sustainable development. In Italy, the Benessere Italia, Wellbeing Italy, steering committee was set up a Prime Minister office to coordinate, monitor, measure, and improve the policies implemented by all ministers in favor of citizen well-being. A step ahead to power Italy's governance of the 2030 agenda, a tool that will enable the Italian government to promote fair and sustainable well-being through new policy and new approach. The thing is that we need to create not a constitution of fear, but a constitution of hope, according to me. An example of this is my small group of people in Palermo. According to me, the start of each group or of each association is the motto, is the word sharing is caring. We have done a lot of events, a lot of initiative to promote our city, to promote our part of city, because I think that the goal, the more important goal, is to be part of, to share. Sharing today is so important from rule of law point of view, from social point of view, from economic point of view. If we are alone in these fights, we lose. If we are together, we can find to solve our problem. And then I want to see you any image about our activity, our promotion of a rule of law, legal value, constitutional value, not Italian, but European, but international value, because according to me, it's too important to, like Agenda 2030 does, the objective set for sustainable development have a global validity. We have to create a global group of value, a global rule that we can respect every day, because we have to be tolerant for the other, and it's different. And finally, openness to and curiosity of the world. In this, only in this way we can create, we can make a constitution of hope, not a constitution of fear. I want to thank you, my ESN and the other association that organized this event, because it's too important to talk about this problem, to talk about this solution, because if we don't talk about this, we can't solve this problem. I want to close because I'm worse than the president, the president colleagues, and then I will thanks to you. Thanks for all.
Thank you so much, Andrea, Russo, for your presentation. Now let's continue. Now that we finished the...
I stay in 10 minutes.
Okay.
Yes, I stay. I want to only this. Now we have 10 minutes, but we have no time to change the world. Today we have only 10 minutes, but every day, every minute, we have no time. We have no time for change, and then it's so important to talk, to share this value, to keep on fight against the problem, our problem. Thank you.
Thank you for your words, Andrea. Now I'd like to share the debate questions, okay, that we are now talking with. I think that all of the speakers have the, if you can put your cameras, because we are debating. Okay, just give me. Okay. Okay, I think that you can see now the presentation, right?
Yes.
Presentation and only the presentation, right? Okay. So we will do some questions. I have also some questions that your presentation that you've raised me during your presentations, but I would like to follow the order, and please, to everyone which is seeing us, to everyone which is there, if you have any question, you can put it in the chat and we will be reviewing them. Okay. Go here. Okay. Okay, let's go to the first one. I'm seeing you here. Okay. Which says that some people think that 17 sustainable development goals and 169 goals are too many, too ambiguous and unrealistic. What do you think? Are they realistic? Are we able to achieve them? You're free to talk. Anyone who wants to say something will be more than welcome.
Well,
Blanca? Okay.
Yes.
Can you begin, Blanca? Thank you.
You're welcome. For me, 17 points, let's say, to rule the world are, I don't think there are too many. I think there are very few. I mean, we are talking about changing the world, make a better world. And I don't know, all the people talk about that. And for me, it's like a very good resume of the things that we have to do. And I said in my presentation, it's a matter of have a common language. That's the most important thing, because we have to work together, because we are gonna be better, we are gonna be faster, and the most important thing is gonna be funnier than if we done it by ourselves. That's my opinion.
Okay, if I continue from here, I agree with Bianca. I don't think there are too many, and maybe I made already my point. The individual SDGs are not important. The importance is how different issues in this complex world are actually coming into our societies, in how we live our everyday life and how we get our well-being. And the most important thing is that we get rid of this simplistic way of thinking that we have economy, ecology, and social issues. It's much more complex, and if we need to choose, I would choose only then social issues and ecological issues. But because it's much more complex with all the issues, so I think it's very good that we do have them. I don't know if we need to have those 169 goals. For me, when you said, Blanca, that it is kind of a language, I call it a compass. I think it's a political compass. And what we then need to do is to do the big change. And still, I would like to say that, yes, it would be nice to see that in 2030, the world is somehow ready. I see that the world is always changing, and it's more like a direction, and we know which way to go, and that we need to go really fast because it's coming close. But I'm sure when we are in 2030, we have new ones, and so we need to, in a way, those who of you are maybe ecologists, you know what it's like co-evolution, where you compete all the time, you get always new challenges. But anyway, it's a direction where we should head. Thank you.
Yes, I agree with my colleague today, because if we have too many problems, we have too many goals. And then I know that life is so difficult, The road is long, but it's necessary. Is the one way possible, and we are human, and then we have to solve human problem, and then non-dishuman problem. And then if we have a lot of problem, we have to solve a lot of problem. We have to too many solutions, too many goals. Of course, life is difficult. No one say no, but we have to fight to our life. And then we have to fight to the future, because we are the past, we are the present, but we are the future. This is the problem, the principal problem, according to me. Then there aren't 169 goals, but only one: getting better the world, according to me. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. So if you would like, I'm going to pass to the following question, which I think is going to be more interesting, because we have a lot of students now. We have a lot of young people now with us right now. And I think that the very interesting question should be the one that you're seeing, which is, what should be the role of young people in Agenda 2030? The people that are seeing this, most of the people that are seeing this. Anyone would like to begin?
Okay,
Eeva.
Shall we go in a set order? Yeah, this is my favorite. I believe so much in the youth that you are going to do this change. I mean, if I refer to Greta Thunberg, she always says that children and youth should not do it, and she's right there. I mean, it's our adults' responsibility of doing it, but we are not somehow capable of doing it. So I think you just have to do it with us together and by yourself, and challenge us. And I think for the youth, it's important that you, in a way, do all the different things. I was yesterday in another university speaking, and they asked about this. It was putting money in some bonds, and putting money in buy some shares, even small ones. And I think, yeah, you can do all kinds of things. But one thing I really want to say, there are so many young ones who feel like really angst from this situation. And what helps to that is to do things together. Don't do alone, do together and have fun, as we heard. It's not really worthwhile not having fun while doing it. Get empowered and make all kinds of challenge us, and also, of course, your consumption patterns is something you should pay attention to, because we have taught you to behave in a certain way in the shops and all that, and now you, in a way, have to fight against what you have got from your mother's milk, to say.
Thank you, Eeva.
That's my message. And go to the politics. And do science.
Okay, Eeva, thank you. Anyone would like to join something? I have a lot of questions to raise. If you add something, you're welcome. But
we could say, if I could, that young people are not under 30, under 20. Young people is the one who think young. We have to defend, we have to protect the new. We have to change our mind. We have to change our approach. Young people is one who think young, and then who can act young. In my part of city, for example, there are a lot of over 60s who are younger than me. from mental approach, then it's too important to studying, be part of a community, sharing, knowing, and then sharing value. This is the important goal, according to me, because we can make all we need if we share, if we fight together. Only this, according to me, is the way, alone, not alone, but together. And then young people are who think that sharing is caring. Thank you.
Well, I just wanted to say that the young people is the future, so we have to take care of them, and we have to learn the way they are thinking, because we try to understand them from our point of view, but they think in a totally different way as we do, and that's we have to encourage them to be critical with the system, to fight, and to put on the over the table things that maybe we don't realize that are existing, no? Because they have other problems that we had, they have other reality, and for example, to find a job for them is, I think, much more difficult than for us when we were younger. Huh? And I think we have to learn how they are thinking now. That's our main challenge.
Thank you so much, Blanca, for your question. I'd like to pass to another one, which I think it's very interesting. It's linked with the presentation of Blanca. Blanca said something about it, because at the end, this started, as I checked from Blanca's presentation, in the year 2015, and it was there was a time horizon of 15 years until 2030. Mm-hmm. And then it arrives 2020, and the world, and then COVID comes to visit us, as you said, which supposes a dramatical change in any area of life, of politics, of economics, of everything. So the question is, what is the impact of COVID-19 to the progression with these goals? But also I would like to add to the way we see these goals. Has COVID-19 changed the way we see Agenda 2030? Let's discuss a little bit about it, because I think it's quite interesting. So who would like to begin with this one?
Definitely. I think it's the way that we see the world now is totally different as we see last year. I mean, today, I think, at least in Spain, today was 1 year ago. Today, they say we have to lock down at home and everything. So I think a lot of things happened in this year, but at the same time, nothing happened, or we had the feeling that nothing happened because we were at home. We couldn't go to work or to a pub with our friends. But I think our mind changed a lot, because we realized that things can happen also in Europe. I think not only in countries but called these undeveloped countries, in Africa or in Asia or wherever, that these things that can also happen to us. No? We saw it just near us. So that changed our life, but that changed also our way that we confront the problems, at least under my point of view.
Thank you, Blanca, for your contribution to this question.
Do you want us to continue?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah, I think also there were lots of things, so the deeper things changed, and one thing also was that we realized that we are one world. It's maybe a little bit what Blanca said, but maybe I put it in a different way, that we realized how dependent we actually are of the other parts of the world in positive and negative things. And this is something for our science. They shared really all the science throughout the world really fast, and this is something to learn about. We have to be able to, in a way, share. We are still fighting. It's horrible to see how all the vaccines are coming to the developed countries, and we are fighting who gets it first, and the developing countries, they practically haven't received any vaccines. They get it then when all of us have received it. So, because they don't have any connections, because they haven't had the possibility to do the research, they haven't got, in a way, the foot between the door. So that is one thing. And then another thing about businesses linked with the COVID is that actually and maybe also governments, we realize that these flows between different parts of the world are actually became quite fragile, so that it wasn't sure that we get, for example, fuel from another parts of the world, or we don't get a certain rice. Well, now we got, but I mean, we suddenly started to think maybe one day we don't get rice, or we don't, something really crucial. The links don't work, so business is falling apart. And so the efficiency thinking, where you can really concentrate in different parts and so forth, it's not anymore so resilient. So from the business strategy, might be that the resilience model is getting more interesting, and producing things closer in your country, in the closed parts of it, or in your city, or in the region around your city. And then empathy, I think that we realized that we are actually quite small, all of us, and we were in a way dropped on our feet, all of us. So empathy was something that came up as well. But I was thinking, yesterday was the day of the 10th year from Japan, when they had the accident with the nuclear power station. And when it happened, I thought that day that now it is when people realize all over the world, and the world is going to change. And it went only 2 years, and everything was the same. No one even remembered it. I don't know if you young ones, if you even know that there was 10 years this explosion in Japan, nuclear power station in a place where lots of people were living. So I mean, it is interesting to see how we go forward from here. But it is a turning point where we are at the moment. We can go to left or right. We can't go straight. I hope we go to the right direction.
I hope so as well.
Yes.
Any more contribution to this question?
Yes, know, in this moment I have COVID, and then I think that COVID make us, I hope, more consciousness than before. I hope that who isn't conscious of the problem of the world, and now maybe will be conscious. And then in a sentence, we can say that COVID make the world shared, because we are in this moment in a full globalization. Just we say that we are global. We have global value, but we have global problems, and then we have to fight them with science, with consciousness of the problem. According to me, this is one of the Italian problem, for example. According to me, emergency we don't need emergency to have consciousness about the problem. We have to know the problem without emergency, without tragic events, but valuing normal life. We have to be conscious, not because of an emergency or because of it, for example. Only with normal life, we have to predict, we have to pre-value, we have to judge. Only this. Thank
you. Good. Thank you for your contribution also, Andrea. I will go with, we are lack of time, but I will go with one more question. I ask you please for brief answers because we don't have that much time, but I would like to, I have more questions, but I would like to try at least with one, okay? Which is the following. Why do I do this question? Because we've seen that Agenda 2030 in some way it's promoted by public institutions like governments, like the UN itself. We have seen the role of those institutions. We have seen the role of young people also. I would like to ask about the role of the private sector. Now we are living in a world that some companies have a bigger capitalization than the GDP of some countries. So companies are very, very, very important. So I ask you, which is the role of companies in Agenda 2030? Do you think that they are doing enough? They are getting involved enough? Could they do something more? This is the question. Please, this is the question. Now some answers, please.
I think, well, me? Okay. I think they...
It's 1 million question.
Just this last one.
I think they have to have social impact. They have to, because if not, they are gonna disappear. Because the society we are asking them to be social, to take care about the environment, to take care about the people. If not, if I can choose, I will choose a company that fit with my beliefs, and I will let die companies that don't fit with me, or they don't, or I don't agree with the way of making things. So they have to, because it's a matter of being or not being. I don't know if you understand me. I mean,
you are referring to the consumer responsibility, to consumer decisions, right?
Yeah, of course. If you don't follow, or if you don't do what people want you to do, you are gonna disappear. I mean, we all know a lot of huge companies, the most important companies in the past, and now they are gone and nothing happened. I don't know if young people know, but about Kodak. Kodak was one of the most important companies all over the world, and today has disappeared and nothing happened. I mean, the world continues, and that's it. So if you have to have a social impact if you want to survive.
Eva, please.
Okay. Well, I have the mic on, so maybe I follow here. Before the COVID, I saw that the businesses are really the change makers, and they are actually quite active because of these things that Blanca said, and maybe also the people who are working there. Lots of us are working in private companies, and when they are getting new employees, so they are demanding sort of social criteria from the company. So they are competing for best staff. So that is a big pressure. But I would say that it's more than that. It is this kind of interplay between the society with the government that really drives them to do that action. Still, they are definitely not doing enough, and they are not taking this. They are pushing backwards as much as they can, but there are of course those forerunners, and the government's role is to help those forerunners to, invest in them and believe in them and help them to go forward. So there are these different ones. So most of them are going a little bit forward, but too slowly. And then there are those companies that don't do anything, and they know that they don't have a future. They don't have, in a way, anywhere where they could, in a way, develop. Let's put the oil companies. So I mean, it's a dead end to them anyway. So they just continue till they die, like Kodak. But then we have these big amounts that are kind of in between. But I see that after the COVID, the role of governments have risen a little bit as well, that they have taken a role of also building it together with the companies. The problem with the companies is that they are multinational. So that is why they actually have to be the ones that may make the agreements how the companies should work. And they have these long chains. So they need to work together and bring the governments as well, because we are not going to get sort of big binding commitments to something like we had for climate change. So that's it. I said maybe a bit mixed thing, but
yes, I agree with you, because according to me, there are 2 points. One of these is that, like a judge killed by mafia, Giovanni Falcone says, if everyone do something, we can destroy mafia. In this case, from this point of view, if every one of us, from private to public sector, do something, we can change the world. And then, according to me, moral suasion is not enough. The point is rule of law, the rule of states, the rule of nation in economy. Because if state doesn't have any role in economy, maybe we can leave the decision to the private sector. Is a public decision that can change the world, according to me, because anyone can do something what you want, what you want. That is the problem, according to me. And then the public sector must be the guide, must draw the road to the private sector, and then we can solve. Yes, the rule of law and the rule of states in economy must be changed.
Thank you, Andrea. I have more questions, but as you know, we have limited time, so I need to stop sharing the screen now and to make a closing. Sadly, to make a closing to this special event that we have, to this special webinar that we have started today. I think that you're not seeing my screen anymore, right? No. Okay, so I would like to say thank you to the speakers, personally, to say thank you for being here with us today, for sharing their knowledge, their expertise, what they know, the things that we don't know, that we wanted to know, all the people that are here, and just being here and sharing those things with us, for us is something very important. We wanted to make knowledge about Agenda 2030 accessible, and thank you for contributing to that. And also I would like to make a special consideration to Andrea, which is not feeling very good. He's a little bit sick, and
sorry my COVID, sorry my English.
No, don't worry. The thing is that he was not feeling very well. He told me like today, and because of COVID.
So glad to be part of this event, and then COVID, we can destroy it. More or less, we can destroy COVID, and don't worry.
Thank you all of you. Thank you also to the FORTHEM initiative, which has awarded us, which is financing us at the end, and also to the people that finance us. And thank you for the people that is here with us, which has stayed during 1 hour and a half listening about us. I'm sorry. Okay, let me see if there is any question with the. Okay, I think that there are no questions. So I'm going to close now. In case you had any question and I was not able to follow it, you know that this has just begun. We remind you that the following webinar is going to be the next 13th of March. Please follow us in our social media. We are just a group of students like some of you.